What's up guys, it's JQ, and today I want to address a question that comes up a lot on my channel, which is what to do when your wife or girlfriend is mad at you. How to handle that like a man with style and grace in a way that helps the relationship remain healthy. And mastering this skill is something that is very challenging, but doing so is going to play a pivotal role in determining the quality of relationship that you have with your wife or girlfriend. Okay, so for starters, all women get upset with their man at some point or another. There is no escaping this, and if she never does, she probably isn't that into you, doesn't love you, or isn't that fun to be with, because women are meant to be, they are emotional creatures. And so instead of looking at this like a problem, I want you to embrace the fact that women having high emotion is part of what we find attractive about them in the first place. Now, with that in mind, obviously, when your girl is feeling really upset, this can be very uncomfortable and difficult for you as a man. So today we're going to talk more about how to handle that in a healthy way. So for starters, let's say that this line represents her mood and the intensity of her moods. And like, this is where she is. This is like her normal range, calm to normal. And over here is where she's upset, okay, in the red zone, okay? Now, the first thing to understand is that if she is in this red zone here, i.e. she's above like a 7 or 8 on the upset scale, then it does not matter whether you have a sound argument or how good your reasoning is or not. She cannot be reasoned with when she's in that state. And so this is the first key insight that you need to understand, is that you cannot argue with her at all when she's in that state. So we're going to use a different strategy. Now, before you say, are you just going to tell me to go along with her or simp for her, whatever? No, I'm not going to tell you to do that. What I'm telling you is that there's a better strategy. We need to get her out of this state first before you can really talk to her and ration with her. So the metaphor that I want you to use when women are upset, and to a degree if when men are upset too, when people are upset, but focusing on women, they go into a childlike state. So I want you to imagine that your wife or girlfriend, picture her as a little girl, because that's the state that she's in when she's in this state of high upsetness. She's throwing a temper tantrum. She's really upset. She cannot be reasoned with. Now, if you have a young daughter or a young cousin, or you have experience with little children, then you will know what I mean. What do you do when a little girl gets upset? Do you start yelling back at her? Do you start giving her all the reasons why you're right and she's wrong? Of course not, right? Because you wouldn't do that to a child because they don't understand. Similarly, your wife or girlfriend is not going to understand what you're saying when she's in this state. So instead, what you're going to do is take steps to get her out of that state. So you start the same way you would with a small child. You're going to start by offering some comfort and some love, because most of the time when women are upset, they want you to listen to them, okay? So what you are not going to do is you are not going to defend yourself, and you are not going to argue at all at this stage of things while she's in this state, okay? You are going to offer some love and comfort. You're going to say, hey, honey, sorry you're feeling upset. Tell me what's going on. Your objective here is to listen, okay? You want to hear her complaint. You want to offer her a bit of comfort. You want to offer her a bit of love if you have time to do so. If you have limited time at the moment, let's say you're in the middle of a project, you're running an event, you're doing something important, you might say, hey, I have 3 minutes to listen to you right now, then I need to get back to this, but I promise we can talk about it later. And if you have no time whatsoever, i.e. you're right in the middle of hosting or leading an event or something where you really cannot provide the time, you're going to say, hey, I understand that you're upset, and I promise you that we'll be able to talk about this later, and as soon as I'm finished with this. And you're going to handle it like that, okay? It's so important that as a man, you stay calm in this interaction, because women look to us to provide what masculinity is its strength and its calmness. So when your girl is upset, she wants to feel your strength. And in this case, your strength is being able to remain calm in the face of her upsetness. If you are able to do this, and believe me, it does take a lot of practice, but when you are able to do this, it is so attractive to her so attractive, and it will just strengthen the love between you. So your first strategy, okay? Love / comfort. Okay? What would that look like? That looks like listening to her. That looks like giving her a hug. That looks like making her a snack. That looks like giving her some dick, if you can do that, okay? It's doing things to take that upsetness away. You're gonna start there, okay? And you're gonna see if that works. Okay, that's level 1. Okay, let's say that that's not working. This is a serious fight. She's super upset. And so she's proceeding to just throw insults at you. She's really hammering home her points, and she's really letting you have it. Well, then you're gonna move on to strategy number 2, which is you're gonna say, listen, you're not gonna speak to me like that. If you're not able to control yourself, then I'm gonna end the conversation for now. I do love you, and we can continue talking about this later when you've calmed down a little bit. And you're just going to stop. You are not going to engage her. Do not take the bait. Do not argue back at her. Do not throw insults back at her. You're going to remain calm, and you are going to disengage yourself from that conversation. You're going to give her time and space to figure that out. What would this be like in our analogy? This would be like time out, okay? Same thing you would do with your toddler when they are upset. And usually, if you're in a good health, if your girl is a healthy, healed woman, then usually this strategy will work. But let's say things are really, really bad, and she just is flying off the handle and she cannot control herself whatsoever. You're gonna move on to level 3, which is walk away. This is where you are going to remove yourself from the situation because it is too heated in order to be productive. So if she just keeps coming after you, and if you don't live together, you are going to leave and go to your house. If you do live together, you're going to find another place in the house where you can be alone and you can create some space, and you're going to allow some time to pass before you come back to the conversation. The goal here is we need to get her from this upset back over the line to more of a normal state, okay? And if you can do that, most of the time, your wife, your girlfriend will start, as she starts to cool off, she will start to realize that she was overheated, that she was out of line, and she will usually apologize at this point in time for getting overly upset. Now, once she gets back into this more normal state, that is when you can have the real discussion. Hey babe, this is why I did what I did, and I'm sorry that you were upset by it. Let's talk about it. Is there something maybe you'd like to do differently, or we can negotiate that would be different in order to suit your needs better? That's when you can have the real discussion, but it only can happen when she's reset herself back to the normal state. And I'll give you an example, kind of a funny example from my own life. And in a way, the circumstances allowed me to be more powerful than I may have been able to be otherwise. So my girlfriend and I went to Burning Man last year. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up, but let's just say it's camping in the desert, and it's very harsh conditions, and I love it. I've been going for many years. It was her first time coming, and so she didn't really know what to expect, and despite talking about it a lot, essentially on her way there, took a very long time to get there, and immediately upon her arrival, things were already in rough shape because we had a big storm. And then immediately after she arrived, we had another big storm, and things were just destroyed, and there was dust, and it was dirty, and it was basically chaos everywhere. So she had a meltdown due to the stress of the situation. And she said, "This camping setup is unacceptable. This is unacceptable conditions for me." And she was mad, basically telling me, that I had done a shit job of preparing us for this, for this endeavor. And what I could have done, and what part of me wanted to do, was to respond by telling her, "Don't you know how much planning and preparation I've done and all the things I have, because I've been doing this for years. I've done a lot of preparation. I have so much stuff, and I've prepared very well for the event. But there are just some circumstances that you cannot prepare for." And so, we were in this situation, and it was a rough moment for sure. But because the environment, because I love it so much and I was in such a great mood, I just looked at her and I said, babe, and she said, I'm leaving. This is unacceptable. And I said, all right, babe, well, tell you what, if you want to give that a try, you can. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that they've closed the entrance and the exit. So there's not going to be any getting in and out, but if you want to give that a try, you go right ahead. And, I'm sorry that you're not feeling well right now. Promise you that it'll get better. And, but, I'm in such a great mood, but that there's nothing you can do that's going to wipe the smile off my face. And I said, but I will stay here and give you a hug and sit with you for a moment, and help you kind of adjust. Okay. And, by doing that, right, by maintaining my composure, by staying calm, my strength was able to melt the upsetness that she had. And so she eventually calmed down. And when she was able to be more calm, she was able to apologize for her behavior. She was able to notice all the things I had done to prepare for the situation and acknowledge me for what I had done to take care of us. So, but it was only because we were able to first take her out of this upset state and into that normal state. So guys, that's what you want to do if you're in a situation with your wife or girlfriend, if she's upset. Now, a note on this assumes that you're in a somewhat healthy relationship. If your wife or girlfriend is toxic to the point that after trying these strategies, it still isn't working, and that's a pattern in your relationship, then you need to reevaluate that relationship. And there are some people that even with great leadership and strength, she's not willing to be led because she has an unhealed, relationship with the masculine, or she has an unhealed relationship with yourself. That's a topic for another video. But just know that, first you want to exhaust all of your options. You want to do everything that you can. And guys, if you're married and you've been married for a long time, this can really shift the dynamic of your relationship. You don't want to be complacent as a man. You don't want to just, your wife's upset and you just ignore her and you kind of go along with what she says. No, and she doesn't want that either. Women want to be led, okay? So when she's upset, she's not saying that, she doesn't mean that she wants to be in control. What it means is that she actually wants to be led and she feels scared about something. And so this is your opportunity to actually show your strength by being calm and show your leadership. And if you can do that, then she will respect you even more and be even more attracted to you. So guys, that's what I got for you. If you'd like more help on doing this and actually incorporating this into your life and into your relationship, I do one-on-one coaching. I'll also be hosting a retreat coming up in the next couple months. For more information about that, you can join my email newsletter which is linked in the description below. You can also book a free call with me to learn more about what I'm up to and how I might be able to help. There's a link for that in the description as well. Thanks guys. I will see you in the next video.